Here we go in three, two, and one. Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to the Great Scott Podcast. Today I am joined by Chaser and Jeopardy champion, Mr. Brad Rutter. How's it going, Brad?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. I just want to say, first off, I've loved the season of the chase that you've done.
Thanks. We had a great time doing it. So it's nice to see that people seem to be enjoying the finished product.
And it looks like you guys are casting for season 3.
That's correct. So yeah, we should be ramping that up here pretty soon.
So I want to start out by asking you, how did you get the name Buzzsaw?
That goes a long way back, actually. It comes from Alex Trebek, no less. It was my Tournament of Champions in 2001, right after I was first on the show. And in the quarterfinals of that tournament, I ended up playing the best game of Jeopardy I've ever played, probably. And I was way ahead at the first commercial break and got all 3 daily doubles, and it just ended up being, not close at all.
Yeah.
Against 2 very good 5-time champions named Bob and Doug, who I had watched on the show prior, and I was honestly a little worried going into it because they were both really good. So we were going into Final Jeopardy, and I had a runaway, and it was obvious what was going to happen. So Alex said to them, "Well, Bob, Doug, it must feel like you just ran into a buzzsaw." So we dug that up from the distant past, and now I'm the...
Was there ever any other nicknames that you've had besides that?
Not that I can think of. Other than Bowtie Brad, but that's
Bowtie Brad. Okay. Yeah. So when you guys had the goat of you, James, and Ken, was that in a Alex idea?
I'm not sure where that came from. I think it was just that they had probably been wanting to do something like that for a long time. But Ken and I had been around forever, and then when James went on his run, it all of a sudden made sense. Like, okay, now we have 3, and now we can do that.
And to see how Alex was during that time when he was doing the go of you 3, you could tell he was kind of towards the end that he kind of had to use a lot of his energy. He wasn't looking good.
Yeah, and the other thing though is I think hosting the show kept him going. You know, it was his life's work, and he loved it so much that it was, when you're ill like that, sometimes you need a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
Alex was lucky to have that. He just enjoyed hosting the show so much, and it was such a big part of his life that I think it really helped him near the end.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. So now that Ken is doing the co-hosting duties with Blossom, do you get to go to the Jeopardy studio a lot more now?
No, actually, I have. Well, with the COVID stuff, like everything's pretty locked down. So I haven't been there. I haven't been there since I was on last, actually.
Oh, gotcha. So what is it like to be friends with James and Ken? Is there like some big competition even off stage between you guys?
Yes and no. It's not anything that's explicit that we talk about, but I think we all kind of have a little competitive aspect to everything. But it's fun. We have a text thread that we get on sometimes, and mostly just making fun of each other, which shouldn't be too surprising.
Yeah. Well, even in the green rooms of the chase, we can see you guys are making fun of each other, having fun at each other's expense as the other one is going after the contestants.
Yeah, that's a really cool part of the show, that of all the various chase franchises around the world, we're the only one that does that. And I think that's sort of where the idea came from, is that, everybody saw us, sort of ripping on each other during the GOAT tournament. So let's put the people who aren't playing in somewhere where they can do that from the sidelines, kind of like Statler and Waldorf from the old Muppet Show.
So 2 things I saw happen this last season of Chase is A, you added Mark the Beast Labette, and B, I saw James give away almost $700,000.
Yes, and believe me, I have reminded him of that.
And what has been his response to that?
He really doesn't. You really can't come back from that.
No.
He likes to rip on me all the time, and I'm like, hey, man, you've given away more money than anybody else. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Now, when you guys give away money, I mean, because you guys are giving like astronomical amounts of money than all the other previous versions of the chase. Whenever contestants win that much, do the producers cry that they have to give away that much, or?
No, it's all in the budget. And
Oh.
the other thing too that you realize looking at the international versions is that game show culture is different from country to country. And in primetime network TV in America, people like to see people win.
Yeah.
So they're planning to give away, a decent chunk of money for every season. And that's what people want to see in America. Whereas in England, it's more about the chasers humiliating the contestants. I think that's what they want to see over there.
Absolutely. And so, so I want to ask you, so how's it that you know so much? I mean, do you read a lot of books throughout the day, or is there some kind of special technique to your knowledge?
It's mostly just what I come across in my daily life, and I do read a lot. And I like to I like to watch documentaries and stuff like that. And I was a big History Channel guy back before it was all Pawn Stars and Ice Road Truckers. So I used to watch that all the time. But yeah, that's mostly it. Ever since I was a little kid, I've just enjoyed knowing stuff. And when I come across interesting things in what I'm reading that day or what I happen to be watching, for some reason, it'll just stick in my head. And if you ask me about it a few years later, I'll be able to come up with it.
Well, I plan on having you on again. Maybe I'll try something later on down the road.
Okay.
So Jeopardy is kind of like really right up your alley. I mean, so I guess you would have kind of grown up watching Jeopardy then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been watching since it first came back on with Alex because my parents had been fans of the old Art Fleming version.
Art Fleming, Don Pardo too.
Yeah, and they'd watch it when that's the thing you hear from baby boomers is like they would watch Jeopardy because it was on during the day when they were homesick from school or if they went home for lunch, stuff like that. So they'd been fans from back then. So when it came back with Alex in '84, I was a little kid, but my parents started watching every night. So obviously I was going to watch every night.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got to, let's say, high school, I realized that I was doing as well or better than the contestants from home. So I figured, well, if I ever get a chance to be on Jeopardy, that's probably something I should do.
What does your family think of you now having all this success from just being a guy who dropped out of Johns Hopkins to now being this Jeopardy guy who's known for winning all this money?
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
They're my biggest fans, obviously, and which is really nice. And yeah, they watch all the time, and they'll get really excited when I'm going to be on TV.
Now, describe what it's like to be a contestant on Jeopardy. Is there like a lot of nerves? I mean, because I was reading somewhere that there's like a delay before you can buzz in to give the answer to Alex.
Yes. Well, I've been fortunate enough to be on so many times that I don't really get nervous anymore.
Yeah.
But the first time is pretty nerve-wracking because it's usually the first time you've ever been on TV. You've been watching, probably your whole life. And then you get on the set and it's much, much smaller than it looks on TV. You're maybe 15 feet from the big board and, 10 feet from Alex. And I remember, just getting on stage and I was like, oh, wow, this is really it. And like, that's that board I've been watching since I was a kid. And it's way bigger than I thought and way closer than I thought. And oh my God, that's Alex Trebek right there. He's like 10 feet from me. So that's pretty nerve-wracking going in. And then with the buzzer thing, yeah, it's a lot of times people talk about buzzer speed, but it's not really speed. It's more timing because of that lockout you talked about. You can't buzz in until the host is finished reading the clue. And there's maybe a split second before they actually have an actual person who presses the button to activate the system. So you kind of have to get into a mind meld with that person with the timing, and they're very consistent, which is good.
Yeah.
It's all about timing it to hit your buzzer as close to when they activate the system as you can.
And also they've I know that this has been going on for a while, but you can go on more than five games, obviously, since you and Ken and James have all done that. But you guys can continue to pile on the cash.
Yeah, well, I was on originally in the 5-time limit era. So, I'm telling on myself for being old, but I was pretty young back then, at least. So yeah, I find myself having to explain that to people. It's like, oh, like, wait, you didn't win 30 games? Like, no, you weren't allowed to.
No, no.
Fortunately, I keep getting invited back for tournaments.
So are we going to see you again on Jeopardy at all, or any other kind of tournament later on down the road?
Yeah, I'm always ready to go if they call, but
Yeah.
you know, there's been so much turmoil over there that I don't know what they're planning. So you know, that
Right.
remains to be seen.
Right.
But I'm ready to go when they want me.
Well, speaking of game shows, you actually hosted your own game show for high school students.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. You know, that was something I had always kind of wanted to do. And then when I won a bunch of money on Jeopardy, I was able to do it. But yeah, it was just a tournament for high school quiz bowl teams on local TV. A lot of fun. And yeah, it was one thing. Speaking of getting old, the biggest thing I remember from it is, you know, I was asking some questions about maybe like 90s alternative bands. This was in, you know, 03 or 04. And all the high school kids had no idea who I was talking about. And that was the first time I ever really felt old at like 27.
Well, you still look good, Brad.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's nice to hear.
So when you won all that money on Jeopardy, what was the first thing you did? I mean, was it really surreal to you seeing all of that money into your bank account? I mean, did you go traveling or tell your boss, go away now, I'm done working for you?
No, I actually, between when I was first on and the Tournament of Champions that year, the same one where I was dubbed the Buzzsaw, I was working at a CD store. So again, this is how long ago that was. And I kept working there for a while until I ended up winning the Tournament of Champions. And then I felt like I had enough money to figure out what I was going to do next. But I didn't do anything crazy with the money because I sort of figured out that, like, hey, you know, if I can, well, actually, well, let's back up a bit. So within the course of about 18 months or 2 years, I won like $1.2 million on Jeopardy. Yeah. So in that time period, I was kind of, you know, focused on getting ready for the next thing. Because after that Tournament of Champions, they were already talking about the $1 Million Masters tournament, which was sort of Jeopardy's response to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which was the biggest thing on TV at the time, and they were sort of sucking up all the attention from the quiz show realm. So Jeopardy decided to have $1 million tournament, and I ended up winning both those tournaments, and figured like, okay, I could probably, you know, make this work for me and maybe be set for life if I'm smart about it. So that sort of mitigated against making any kind of crazy purchases.
During the GOAT tournament, James made a joke when it was time to change the scores. James goes, "Hey, Brad's score is still on there," when it was 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So moving on then. So do you have any advice for future Jeopardy contestants, or do you have people ask you saying, "Hey, what's good to? I mean, what should I do in order to be a Jeopardy contestant?"
Well, my biggest piece of advice is that, you know, they give you the test to find out what you know, and that's how they know if you know enough or not to be on the show. So once you get past that and you get to the audition stage, it's an audition for a TV show. So they want to see, you know, energy and personability, and whether when the contestant coordinators will tell you to move around the board, and they want to see how you do that. So just bring a lot of energy, and I say be yourself, but more so. It's not, you know, Wheel of Fortune where they want people who are going to be jumping up and down or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the people lose sight of that. It's like, hey, it's a TV show. If you're not going to be at least, you know, unobstructive on TV, preferably they like you to be entertaining at least.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about at that point.
And one other cool thing that I know that, and you're a guy who likes to give back, because you started a scholarship fund for, I think, your hometown high school.
Yes, I did. I endowed a scholarship at my hometown high school. I'm also really involved with the library system in my hometown. So I donate a bunch to that. I set up a fund to do that. So always nice to give back.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love seeing that in people who know where they came from and just like passing it forward per se.
Yeah, I feel that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brad, thank you so much for appearing on the podcast, sir. And hopefully you'll come back sometime. Hopefully I wasn't too bad for you. So
No, not at all. Nice talking with you, Michael.
yeah, same here, Brad. And hey, when does the new season of The Chase premiere, or do you not know yet?
Don't know yet. I'm guessing summer or fall, but we'll
Summer,
see.
fall. Okay. All right. Well, sounds good. We will definitely be looking out for you. And Rachel, thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
You
Great
too.
day, guys.